Hello, lovely people of the interwebs. How are we all? I keep looking at myself in the mirror because I normally got a hat on. Can you hear me first of all? Can you hear me? Who have we got here? We've got Danny. Hello. Tracy, the corner plot. Julie. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Because I haven't done a live since Feb, so I can't quite remember how it all works. Okay, good. I'm just checking. Look, and Shamsa, the husband, is here. Hello, Sard. Hi, Cody. Good. I'm glad you can hear me. So, as I said, we haven't done a live since Feb, and a lot has happened around the world in that time. It's been a crazy time, hasn't it? So, I thought we would just sort of catch up, have a breather. I can fill you guys in with what has been happening here and kind of the story of, I guess, what's happened since February. And then also, I throw out to you guys to ask me some questions. So I've got a load of questions on the community tab to go through, and also some from my Patreons, a couple of which are here already. So we will answer those as well. And then we'll just basically have a catch up. I don't know if Liz is around tonight. Liz is my moderator. So if anybody sees anything in the chat feed that shouldn't be there, please let me know and I will delete it very quickly. And also, if you have got a question and I miss it, please just don't take offense. I've just missed it. Put it again just in capital letters, and we'll get to it and we'll try and work through everything. So let me just have a quick check. So hi, Cody, and hello to the Scotch Crofter who's here as well, and Tracy Smith, hello. So yeah, so I hope you guys have all been surviving this strange pandemic. I know a couple of you have been quite ill, so I'm glad that you are better and you're here. For us, for Sard and myself, we've been well. We haven't had any of the ill effects of this pandemic, but we have obviously had a major change in life. So obviously, back in February was the last live stream, and since then we have left our jobs. Sold our house almost. I need to touch some wood, and then moved to Suffolk and moved to the farm. Hello, Green Raven, and hello, hi, Andrew. So we moved up to the farm. So this lovely space is my rental house. So this is my little room of stuff. I've got loads of stuff crammed into this room. Sard has the biggest bedroom because he's setting up his taxidermy studio. And so basically life for us is now just going back and forth to the farm and kind of setting up. And Tracy's just said she's got a new mini lockdown in Belgium, and I know some of us over here, we're in Suffolk at the moment, we're not in a lockdown. I know obviously some places we've got the new tier system over in the UK, and some of us are in lockdown. So yeah, it's going to be a while before it's over. So all I can say is, for me personally, I'm really happy that we managed to move before the second peak, because at least now we're here and we can go to the farm and we can do stuff. Although most of the infrastructure is in place now, and we can't do a lot until our house is sold, because we are still, we had savings, but we've still got to pay all the bills on this place, and we're still paying the bills on the old house as well. So we have to wait, really. We can't spend any more big money until the house sale goes through. And we're hoping it's going to go through next month, the end of this month, beginning of next month. Let me skip this. So that we can finally buy things like polytunnels and water. And yeah, we have no water on site, so we're still rainwater capturing and things. So Tracy Minnie Brown, yes, they say moving house is the single most stressful thing to do. And it was pretty stressful, especially because also we had to do it ourselves. The removals firms we contacted were staggeringly expensive. So we ended up renting a Luton van and doing the move ourselves. So I think we did 3 or 4 trips up and down the motorway, taking all our stuff up here. And then obviously we rented this property before we sold our own property, and we literally, it was on the Friday, so we both left our job. We rented this house on the Monday. We both quit our jobs on the Friday, and that was our last day. And then on the following Monday, our house sale fell through. So we were like, oh no, what do we do? But it was too late by then. We had quit our jobs and we had got this house, and it was just like, well, we can't stop now. We've just got to carry on going. Luckily, within 2 weeks, we resold our house. And so we're still waiting for that second buyer. Now we're waiting for that to go through. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. And as Julie just said, it was stressful. It was super stressful. I haven't been sort of quiet about mental health issues at all. I'm quite transparent about it. And I did have a bit of a breakdown April, March time. And that was all the stress getting to me. By the time the house sale and stuff fell through, I was on medication. So actually, although I might have fallen apart beforehand, I just kind of went, what can we do? Let's just go and buy sheep. So that's what we did. So we're just going to see where the wind blows and the wind takes us, really. So the corner plot just says, so looking forward to seeing what you're doing with polytunnels. Have you ever had one? I know you had a greenhouse, but they're a different animal, I imagine. Yeah, so I've never had a polytunnel. I've had a polytunnel at work that I've used and grown stuff in, but I've never had my own polytunnel, so I'm quite excited. My friend has a huge one. I don't think we're going to go quite as big as her one. I'm thinking of 2 slightly smaller ones. I don't want them too tall because it means that when you have to replace sheeting, or if the wind blows the sheeting off it, they're just such a difficulty to get all that sheeting back on. So I think we're thinking of like an 8 foot, 9 foot tallest, and then we'll just go as wide as we can and maybe as long as we can, and 2 next door to each other. Cody said, where did you previously what did you do previously for work? So I was a livestock manager of an open farm. So we had a huge array of animals that I looked after, but then we also had the customer element as well. So that was interesting, which is why I'm quite happy to now have my own farm and not a customer element, which would be quite refreshing, because, you know, some people can be lovely, but a lot of people can be right pains in the bottom. Good evening, Ninja. So the corner plot said, glad you have some experience. It's going to be fun watching you learn as you go. I'm living vicariously. And I don't know what I'm doing. So yeah, you can make your mistakes through me, and then you can not do them, which is actually one of the reasons why I went and got my previous job, because I was like, right, I have this long-term dream of moving to the country and taking up the farming mantle that my granddad had, but do I actually know how to do it? Am I any good at it? So I thought, right, I'm going to go and I'm going to go and work with livestock. And then I was lucky in that I was actually found, I was actually really good at it, and B, a position opened up within 2 or 3 months. So I basically went from kind of just an animal keeper to the livestock manager really quickly. And yeah, it all worked out really well. So now I know, yes, I do like it. And yes, even when it's -11 with wind chill outside, I want to do it. And even when it's 40 degrees and I'm melting, I want to do it. So that was the main positive of that thing. And I always think there's, you know, following that train of thought is really good for anything you want to do in life. You know, I don't like taking risks. I'm quite happy in my own little comfortable bubble. So though this seems like a big risk to do, a big move to do, I've done everything in my power to make it as risk-free as possible. And I just think that's important for any challenge in life, you know, whatever the hobby is. You know, if you want to become a chef, well, go and get some experience in a chef, start a little bakery on the side, start making money that way, and then see how you go. And I just think the last thing you want to do. Right, sorry guys, my internet went down. That's the only slightly dodgy thing about here. Living in a rental property, we can't get like cable internet. So we have a router that connects to 4G, which is really good, but it's been going up and down. So I might break out at some points. Apologies if that happens. I've just seen Andrew is asking what pure breeds of chickens are you thinking of doing, and Belvedere and Abbey Garden Farm says, hi Jeff, Tom here, what's your commercial plans for your sheep and goat flocks? How are you planning to make a return? So yeah, that's one of the questions. So I guess the first question that I was asked by one of my Patreons, Maker's Dozen, she asked, does it feel real yet? And it's really weird because we've had this dream, Sard and I have had this dream for like 10 years, ever since we met. And then I've had this dream for longer than that. And it's almost like now we're here going through the process, it seems totally real. But then when I'm on my computer and I'm looking back at videos on YouTube, when we're back in the old house, or pictures that I took, 5-6 years ago when we just came up to the farm just to do stuff. And then I'm like, wow, 5-6 years ago, I was saying, oh, it's going to take so long. It's not going to be for another, decade. And now we're here and we're doing it. So it's really weird. It does feel real, but at the same time, it doesn't, if you know what I mean. And I think it was going to take a long time before it really kind of cements that this is life now. So, and obviously, we haven't reached the pinnacle of dreams, because as soon as you reach one dream, you tend to make more. So we have many more dreams lined up, including building a house, and hopefully one day opening a farm shop. So lots of things to work towards. So back to the breeding program thing, I asked you guys on my community tab, and Mikkel asked, one of the ideas to talk about could be breeding ideas for the animals. Everything I want to know. I want to know all the plans about the ducks, bantams, silky sheep. I want to know everything. And then that kind of leads on from Tom's question and Andrew's question as well. So one of the key things that we want to do here, and one of our kind of key principles, is we do not want to become a intensified meat production line. That is so far away from what we want to do. We're doing regenerative agriculture, and although I eat meat, I don't want to become a production line for tons of lambs, tons of sheep. So we will be breeding, but as I say, I'm not. Our aim is to use livestock to better the land and to kind of draw down some carbon and regenerate the pastures and things like that, not necessarily to just grow loads of meat food. So in terms of animals, we're going to, and this is actually the same for all of our animals, we're going to concentrate in the breeding groups on rare breeds, and specifically rare breeds from the local area. So we're in East Anglia, we're in Suffolk, so rare breeds from this area. And one of the reasons, or there's many reasons why I love rare breeds so much, but you often find with rare breeds, actually there's way less problems, because as you are developing and breeding a commercial animal, let's say a sheep, you are breeding, you're working towards something that's going to make you the most money. So you might be wanting to get the most meat out of that sheep, or you might be aiming to get a sheep to have many lambs as possible, or you might be breeding for fleece. And as you work towards those lines, other things fall out of the mix. So you might, for example, pick a ewe to breed continuously because she always has twins and triplets. But she might have a really horrible udder, and she might get bad feet over and over and over again. But you keep using her because she gives you lots of lamb. And you don't get that so much in rare breeds, because rare breeds are more of a primitive breed that were used for meat, and they were, lots of them were dual purpose. So they were used for meat and eggs, or meat and milk, or meat and fleece. So there was never excess. So actually, people back then, they had this primitive sheep, and they wanted to keep it as perfect as possible. So they wouldn't breed from ones that had dodgy feet. They wouldn't breed from ones that had dodgy udders and things. So that's one of the reasons that I really think rare breeds are so important to keep alive and to nurture. So that's why we're focusing on rare breeds. So I've got the Norfolk Horn sheep. I've now got 5 of those. I've got the goats. I will be doing Anglo-Nubian goats. The goats I have currently are just freebie rescues. That they were the kids from my open farm from this year. And I decided that I wanted to take some with me and use just as they're basically my maintenance crew. So they're not going to make me any money, but they might save me time. But the Anglo-Nubians, for example, they are going to all be registered pedigree stock. I was chatting to my friend the other day who I'm buying my 3 nannies from. And, you know, we've decided that, yes, I'm going to buy a billy as well. So I'm currently trying to source another billy. And my main reason for that is I want to have milk, but also you can sell Anglo-Nubian nanny kids for 200, 300 pounds. The same with the Norfolk Horns. I want to kind of, Norfolk Horns back in the day, they were down to kind of 10, 15 individuals. So they had to be crossbred with other stuff to bring that genetical line back. So that's one of the reasons we're focusing on it, is to produce good breeding stock for the future. And of course, yes, we will eat some, but our main kind of ethos is to produce as near perfect Norfolk Horns as possible that we can take to shows, and that we can improve genetical stock across the country. So we've got Norfolk Horns, we've got Anglo-Nubians. In terms of chickens and ducks, we've got the silver apple yaw ducks, we've got the khaki Campbells, which are great egg layers. They're not really rare. And we've got the Muscovies. Again, they're not really rare, but I love Muscovies. But the silver apple yards are the ones that are the rare breeds. We've got 2 ducks and 2 drakes. And then we have the Ixworth chickens, again, a local Suffolk rare breed. They're really good dual purpose. They lay quite a lot of eggs, but they also make a lot of meat. So again, I'm trying to breed a really good standard of Ixworth. And then I can use their excess cockerels. They grow to a big size. I can use the excess cockerels for our freezer. And we can sell chickens at auctions. We can sell hatching eggs. And then I guess, obviously I've got the silkies and the silky color lines. So I know at some point I'm going to sort of go off on a tangent about animals, and I'm not going to keep to completely rare breeds because I love all the different breeds you can get. But I think as near as possible, I'm going to open the window. As near as possible, I'm going to try and keep to rare breeds. So for this year, we've just got the ducks, the goats, the sheep, and the chickens. Next year, I intend to get a couple of large black gilts. So again, they are a local rare breed, large black pig. So we're going to start with a couple of gilts, train them to electric fencing, and then probably put them down in the pit. And then next year, or possibly the following year, 2022, we're going to be looking at getting the British white cattle. We were originally going to go with red poll because they are a local breed, but they are quite temperamental. And I've heard quite a lot of things from different keepers that have had them in the past that they can be quite temperamental. So I was still going to go with that, and then I found out that actually there is the British, I think it's the British white, and although it's not native to Suffolk, I think it was up in Lancaster, but basically the majority of the British whites were brought down to Norfolk in around 1745. So they've been here for hundreds of years. So I think we're going to concentrate on them. Again, they're dual purpose. They're much more docile. So that's exciting. I'm going to get cows eventually. So yeah, that's kind of the idea with all of the stock. And to make money, we'll be doing the breeding stock thing. So I think there's only a finite amount of money you can make from selling meat and meat boxes. And the worry is that if you start going down that line, you're going to end up just trying to make more money by producing more meat and selling more meat boxes, which is not what I want to do. So our focus will be on breeding stock and good stock to sell, chickens and ducks, hatching eggs, go to auctions, selling ewe lambs, rams. If we get an amazing bull, selling semen, so there's all sorts of things we can sell and hopefully make ends meet. The guy that I bought the lamb from, so Montague, he said his sheep flock basically work. They pay for themselves. They don't make him a lot of money, but they cover their expenses. And the other thing is, because we're doing regen ag, which means we're pasture basing everything, there's not so much cost. You don't need as much feed. We haven't had to spend loads on fencing because we're using electric fencing. So your outgoings aren't as high either, because you know, you don't have to buy so much food for stuff. We're probably going to lamb outside. And that's why the cattle have been put off, because the cattle do require a lot more infrastructure and input, both in their health and their mandatory vaccinations and care, but also in the infrastructure required, so cattle crushers and things, whereas sheep and goats, you really can get away with very little. So that's kind of that topic, I guess. So let me just catch up on the questions here. So Tracy says, I'll look on here because then I'm looking at the camera a bit. Tracy says, watching your videos the few last years inspired to get chickens and quail and turn my garden into an allotment. Yay! Other people were buying toilet rolls in March. I was sowing seeds. Yes, that's brilliant. I love hearing that. That's really good. That's what I like. And how is it going? I hope it's going well. Jackie says, any good advice about quail? What specifically would you like to know? I haven't had many of the problems with quail that a lot of other people have had. And I kind of put that down to the fact that I hatched the chicks out myself. A lot of people have massive fighting with quail, and they say that they scalp each other and they fall out and they just can't keep them together. I've never had that. And I think it's because I hatch out my chicks and they're in the house in a brooder for the first part of their life. So they're mega tame and they're mega chill. So I guess that's one major piece of advice is, I don't know whether it's just me, but from my personal experience, if you hatch them out yourself and rear them in the house a little bit before they go out, they tend to be a lot more chilled. If you also, when you introduce new quail, if you introduce them before maturity, so I tend to introduce them just after they feathered up, so they're about half the size of a grown quail, they don't get picked on as much and they integrate a lot better. If you add a grown quail into the mix, it all breaks out. Fintan says, do I like silky chickens? I love silky chickens. Jimmy says, I just got chickens, been watching your channel for ages, and it's a bit of a reason why. We rescued 6, brilliant, and they have terribly scaly legs, not so brilliant. I'm really not very confident with picking them up. Any advice? I guess the way I pick up chickens is I go in the top and I just pin the wings together, and then I scoop my hand, this hand, so I've got the hen like this, I scoop my hand underneath, so this is on her bottom, this is on her bum, and this is between her legs, and then you can grip a leg here and you can grip a leg here, and then you've got her, and then you can let the wings go, and then even if she flaps, she can't get away because you've got her in your hand. And then often you can just hold them like that then, and they'll just sit there. And then you can treat their legs with Vaseline or descaly, whatever you're using. The corner plot says, I love the idea of keeping goats as maintenance crew. There is a neighbour by me who has a garden that's all brambles. It keeps saying, yes, she needs goats. She really needs goats. My goats haven't been brilliant as maintenance crew yet, I have to admit, because they're all a bit wussy. And I only have 3 tethers, not 5, which means I can only take 3 out at a time. And then the 2 in the barn scream, and then at least one of the ones that's out wants to go back. They hate being too far apart, which means I have to put them close enough that they can go and say hello to each other, but that means they get tangled, which means I can't go very far away. So it is a work in progress. I will get them to the point where I can take them all out on the leashes. They can be well away from each other so they don't get tangled, and then I can just leave them for a few hours. But it's the work in progress. But if you had loads of brambles and you could just let them go, it'd be amazing. But I can't risk doing that because they'll probably straight into the veg garden. Tracy Min Brown says, I can't wait for open days next year. Yes, I know. So this is something that I said on the community group, I think. And it's not been completely... Who's this? Hello. What are you doing?
I might just wash this smelly bottom before I can taxidermy in.
Oh, okay. So Sard has been doing lots of taxidermy, and you know I have my Eddie Ixworth cockerel. Eddie is on the table tonight. So this is Eddie. Oh. So Eddie's been in the... Oh, Eddie smells. Eddie's been in the freezer for a year?
Yeah.
He's just thawed out, but he's going to be mounted into a beautiful taxidermy piece, aren't you? I'd kiss you, but I don't want to. Yeah, and he smells. He's really smelly. But he will be beautiful. I'll show you again on the Brimwood Farm community group when he's done. Open days, yes. So it was asked on the group whether we'd be hosting tours or anything like that. And that is in the future. I would love to have openings for volunteers to come, so you can come and see the farm and help out. Possibly like even little camping weekends and things, and also tours. We definitely want to do Open Farm Sunday. So it will be happening at some point. We just need to get settled in, get the season going, and hopefully next year it will happen. If not, it will happen the year after. So many people have got quail after watching YouTube. Yes, quail are brilliant. So the corner part, any tips for introducing ducks to new ducks? Do you have any issues when you introduce your Royal Quartet to the older Khaki Campbell girls? No, because again, I introduced them all as ducklings. So they all, I think, well, because my chickens and my ducks live together, I think initially when the ducklings go in, they're so terrified of the chickens, because the chickens, chickens aren't very, very nice, that they just automatically group together. So they just became part of the pack. And the same happened with the lavender muscovies. As soon as I put them in, they just became ducks. They stayed away from the chickens. And actually the same with compost and kettle as well, compost and tea bag rather. They got put in with all the ducks and the chickens, and they just were like, we're ducks, we're going over there. I do have one Randy, female Khaki Campbell. I think she must be gay, because she keeps getting onto all of the Khaki Campbell females and also the Silver Appleyards. But that's the only sort of strange behaviour, I guess, that everybody else is completely fine. But again, I guess now they have a bigger space as well, so they have more area to roam and get away from each other. Ah, Julie, so you processed your first quail. I'm glad. I hope it did go well. It'll be very tasty. I need to try and stop putting my hand in front of the camera. So let's see another question that I had here. So Jackie Cousins said, I love your channel. I'd just love to know more about your plans and your partners. It's lovely watching the animals and all you do, as my husband and I are less able now. We love all nature farming, etc. Also interested in your partner's work. So yes, so Sard, so our plans, you know a lot about my plans. So the dream is to build a house, expand the farm. So we are a proper working, profitable market garden with a flower farm and with established I would love to be established, highly regarded local rare breed flock. So when people are thinking, where do I get an Norfolk horn from? Where can I get a good ram from? My name is thrown in the hat. The same when it comes to like the large black pigs and things like that. So I want that. The ultimate dream is to also have an on-site zero waste farm shop where we could sell stuff, but we could also include the community. So I would love to have a farm shop or a local shop that also includes crafts from local crafters. So artists, painters, and people, spinners they can all, I'm not going to be baking cake and stuff, but if there's a local person that bakes, we could have that in there, local jams, all of that sort of stuff. So I would love that. Sard has been working really, really hard on his taxidermy, has set up a business now. So he started his business and he's really good. He's, some people take years, and I guess the same thing with me going off and doing that experience at the open farm to work out whether I was any good at farming. And then I was like, okay, yeah, this is for me. The same things happened for him. So where, he's gone away and he's done some experience and he's done some work with other people and he's gone, A, I love this, and B, actually, I'm quite good at it. So he's starting a taxidermy business. So I think I've showed you the Silky. He did Barry, my Silky, who looks amazing, and he's now working on Eddie, which is great. Leanne said, please could you tell us if you're going to be building more infrastructure? The pheasant runs are so nice. They really are. They were expensive, but they're nice. I'd like to know if you'll be building more like that for other livestock in the future. We'll be doing a little bit of building for the livestock, but not vast amounts, because again, back to the whole regen mob grazing stuff, I'm not planning on building loads of field shelters and things because you can't move them. The whole point is we've got all this land and pasture that we want to regenerate. So everything needs to be movable. So on the kind of the building front, some chicken tractors, some more aviaries for more pheasants. And eventually, next year or the year after, we will probably need a cattle shed at some point, because cattle do, you can keep cattle outside most of the year, but at some point they will start to churn up the ground, and depending on the weather, you'll run out of ground. So probably a cattle shed at some point, but we're not going to be doing vast amounts of building for the farm, because kind of our point is we want to make as low impact on the land as possible, and we want to do as minimal building as possible, so we can create this harmony between farming and wildlife. So there will be more to build, but we're not going to be throwing up barns and grain silos and things like that. At Home with Kez says, I know it's old, but I'd like to know how you dealt with poachers. Yes, so we didn't have poachers, but we did have trespassers. We didn't really deal with them because the problem was we had lots of trespassers coming onto our land, but we weren't there. So I never caught them. I only saw tracks. And I didn't want to catch anybody out while we weren't actually using the land, because I could come up, I could fly into a rage, go mad on somebody, and then we wouldn't be there for another month. And I was just worried that all hell could break loose and we could turn up and they just decided to exact revenge by chopping some trees down or fly tipping or, stealing some stuff. So I thought, look, I'm not gonna tackle it until we've moved here. We're tackling it at the moment by having some fencing done around the perimeter, and also I did find one of the guys that had been dumping some stuff in the pit, but I've actually befriended him, and he is now my source of free sawdust. So if you tackle it right, you can have some rewards. So I now have a never-ending supply of free sawdust, which is brilliant. But yeah, so and actually, I don't think there were multiple people. I think it was just one or two people coming onto the land, and now they know we're there. That hasn't been a problem, because I think there needs to be this culture shift of this land isn't empty anymore, it's being used. And I think that culture shift is starting to happen, and people are automatically just not coming, which is good. And as soon as we get fencing and gates up, it'll be even better. And then the last one was Jack said, is a dove house or a pigeon loft something you consider for the farm? I bought a few at Cage Bird Sale just for a bit of fun and ended up with a dozen. They're lovely. The eggs are lovely and the birds themselves are very good for eating. It's not something I'm considering right now because we've got so many animals already. And we've got, I don't need any more meat because we've got the rabbits. Next year we'll have some lamb, we'll have pig, we'll have chicken, and I think doves are just something extra to look after, but that's, I collect animals. So there may well be a time when I end up with a pigeon loft. So I'm just going to scroll through anything that I might have missed here. Makola says, hi, I've just hatched my first quail after following you for ages on YouTube. Thanks so much for your help. I'm watching on my Xbox. I didn't know you could do that. That's cool. Hopped on my phone to comment. Thank you for watching. And I'm thrilled that you've also gone and kept quail, because quail really are super little birds. There's one video, the video that is, I think, 6 reasons to keep quail or something. And I get so much hate on it because people come and they think that I'm going to be talking about, oh, let's keep little quail for little quail for pets, and then I start talking about eating them. And everybody can have their opinion, but some of the comments are awful and I have to delete them. But so it's heartening to know that actually there's quite a few of you that have found it useful, that have gone and got quail, and in my mind, there's no reason you can't keep quail and love quail and still eat a quail now and then. But obviously to some people that's a big no-no. But I'm glad. I can't seem to work my camera. Oh, there we go. Julie says Barry was amazing. He was an amazing cockerel, although he was not a very nice cockerel. So I'm actually quite, this is really bad. I'm quite glad that he's now in stuffed form, because I can touch him all I want without him ripping my finger off. Andrew says, now you're at the farm, I'll be sending you some Sonoret's Grey Jungle Fowl. Thank you, that'd be amazing. Yes, I do remember, that would be amazing. I'm going to keep them, obviously. So Sonoret's Jungle Fowl are like one of the original ancestors of chickens. So you can't keep them outside in a chicken run because they will fly away. So they'll be in an aviary with the pheasants. So we bought one more aviary. We're hopefully going and picking up another aviary that we found on a marketplace yesterday. So yeah, we're building more, so we'll have more room. The corner plot says, I think that is evidence of what a lovely person you are to befriend him, and now it's a benefit for you, like karma. Yeah, well, I do think of myself as quite a laid-back person. You know, positive karma. We live in such a time where there's so much crap going on in everybody's life, whether they show it or not. I just try and be nice and not, you know, if somebody annoys me, I'm not quick to jump, because I think, well, they might have annoyed me, but they might have not meant, or they might have been going through something. Just the one thing I always say is, don't make a fool out of me. Like, you might annoy me a couple of times, but don't keep doing it, because then you'll get my back up. But yeah, I'm really glad that I managed to get this free sawdust, which is great. It's not the sawdust that you get from the pet store. So obviously when it comes to chickens and ducks, it really needs to be quite dust free, because chickens can get all sorts of respiratory illnesses from getting dust in their nostrils and their airways. Because this comes from a joiner's, it's not dust free. But so I wouldn't, you know, in my old chicken house, I wouldn't have ever used it because it would have been too dusty. But now, because of the rotational grazing and the way their chicken coop is, and they've got a lot of ventilation, it's fine for me to use. I can also use it with the rabbits and the ferret. So it works quite well. I always forget to drink my tea, so then I get lukewarm tea. Look how cute this cup is. It doesn't, sadly, have a Norfolk horn on it. But it has a lot of sweet sheep. I love it. I was bought this from a gift back in February when I was lambing. It was a gift from a colleague. I will let you in on one little thing, and I don't know whether I've told you or not, but there will be lambing next year. So obviously my ewe lambs at the moment are too little. They can't be bred till next year. But I am buying a couple of Wiltshire Horn ewes, in lamb ewes. So when you say in lamb ewes, they're pregnant. So I'm going to be buying a couple of those. Hopefully they're going to be coming in January. So we will be lamb. Yes. Oh, the Harris Hawk. Where's he going? So yeah, are you bringing him in?
He just had a food.
Oh, we've been interrupted by a hawk. Raja. This is Raja. If you saw, he has been on a video or two. He's a Harris Hawk. How old is he?
He's 3.
3.
Yeah.
He's 3 years old. He's currently got, if he poos on the bed.
He won't. He just ate.
He always poos after he's eaten. The thing about falcons is they have projectile poo. So it's not like he would poo just like that. He would up the entire wall. Right, it's gone to be fed a dead chick. What were we talking about? Sheep. Yeah, so come January, I'm buying a couple of in-lamb ewes, Wiltshire Horns. So we will be lambing next year, which is really exciting. And I'm also buying, alongside the Wiltshire Horn ewes, an unrelated Wiltshire Horn ram. So it means that any of the resulting ewe lambs from that mating I can then keep in my flock, and then I can breed them with the unrelated ram. So I'm very excited about that. I love lambing, and I couldn't go a year with missing it. So I will only have 2, but 2's better than nothing. And also I'm going to get that Billy, and I'm going to try and, so the Anglo-Nubian girls I'm getting 1 18-month-old and 2 6-month-old. So I really want goat milk for next year. So we're aiming to get that Billy, breed the 18-month-old in November or December, so that we can have kids in May time. So hopefully there will be some birds next year, which is very exciting. So Will says, how much do you sell your quail, chicken and duck eggs for? My chicken eggs go for £1.50 a dozen, a half dozen. So yeah, £1.50 a half dozen. Quail eggs are £2 a dozen. £2 a dozen. And duck eggs are £2 a half dozen at the moment. Currently, I'm not selling at all because I haven't yet classed. In the UK, you have to register as a food business to actually sell them. I know a lot of people don't because they're just selling little bits and bobs here and there by their garden gate. But because we're going into business and we're actually going to be becoming a proper food retailer, I need to register properly as a food retailer, even just for eggs and garden gate sales. So I'm not selling anything at the moment, but they're the kind of prices. But again, it changes regionally as well. Some places you can sell duck eggs for more, chicken eggs for less, etc., etc. And the rules are completely different. So chicken eggs you can't sell. If I was selling it, I could sell it direct to you, but I couldn't sell it to a shop, for example. But that classification isn't the same for duck eggs or quail eggs. It's really odd, but it's good because it means you can go and sell quail eggs to restaurants and ducks to restaurants without any issues. But yeah, that's the kind of the pricing. Jackie, I have not heard of Falconry and Me as the channel, so I'm going to look that up because Sard will enjoy that. So Sard is heavily into his falcons, heavily. So the Harris Hawk was a gift from a friend of ours who have a falconry centre. They had a lot of rescue falcons. That falcon Raja was found. I think he was just found. He had I can't remember what they're called. Like anklets or whatever. He had those on, but he was found just flying around the street. They put out loads of reward stuff for him. We found this, and nobody ever claimed him. So he was with our friends in a multi-aviary for about a year. They didn't need him for their falconry centre. So Sard's got him, which has worked out really, really well. And he does want to get more in the future. So obviously that's a Harris Hawk, that's a falcon. That's a Harris Hawk. It's a hawk. Clue is in the name, Jeffrey. So he can go hunting with that. And then he wants to get a couple of little owls and kind of build up that side of a business as well, just to do experience and days and stuff with falconry, which would be really, really cool. I don't really have a vast amount of interest on that side of things, but he loves it. So whatever keeps him happy, you can just go and do that. He doesn't have any interest in lambing, so I will be the one that does that, although I might need him because his hands are way smaller than mine. And I did find this year with lambing, my hands are very big to go inside a sheep's pelvis when there's also a big lamb inside. So I may need some smaller hands. The corner plot says, I would be interested in seeing a video on you getting registered to sell eggs. Cool, I can make one up. It's really simple. Basically, in the UK, you have to register as a food business, and it's free. You literally just go onto your local council website and you fill in a form and you send it off, or you email it, and then sometimes the health inspector will then come out and visit your premises. I did it in the old house, and literally she just came around, we talked about eggs, I showed her the chickens, and it was all done and dusted. But I can do a video about the kind of the red tape aspect of it, I guess. And that's one thing, I guess you see a lot of the farm physical stuff on the YouTube channel, but you don't see all of the background stuff. And So although I have been working quite a lot at the farm and setting things up, I've also been doing a lot here in terms of background stuff, registering with different pedigree clubs, sorting out paperwork for sheep, sorting out insurance. So there's a lot, and I'm going to show you one thing with the sheep. Oh, if I can reach it. So with the sheep, for example, you can just go and buy sheep, but if you are setting up a pure breed, rare breed flock, everything has to be registered and documented. Otherwise, it doesn't class. And I can't just go and buy a Norfolk horn from anywhere. I have to buy a Norfolk horn that is registered, has its parents registered, and you can trace back the genealogy, sorry. So there's a system online, it's called Grassroots, and I can basically go on and I can type in the tag number of my sheep, and I can find their parents, their grandparents, their great-grandparents. I can follow all the way back, and it's really, really cool for the geeky people like me. But it also takes a lot of time as well. So when I was searching for my new ram, for example, I had to go through the genealogy of every single ewe I had, tracing it all the way back to make sure I didn't have any genetical crossovers. And then with the Norfolk horns, well, with all of them, you get sent breed certificates. So for example, this is a breed certificate, and this is this is Candy's. So her name is Candy, and then her prefix is Balaam. So my prefix, you can choose it, but mine will be Brimwood. So when you go to shows, if I was showing Candy, they'd say, and now Balaam Candy. And my future generation will be now Brimwood, whatever their name is. So that's her tag number. That's her date of birth, the 23rd of February. That's her name. And then this is the genealogy, which I think is really cool. Some people don't have any interest at all, but I like it. So this is her mum, and this is her dad. So her mum was didn't have a first name. She was just Balaam. Her dad was Boxmoor. And then you can go back. So for instance, her grandma on her mum's side, which is here, her grandma was another Balaam, and her granddad was Retton Humphrey. And so you can follow those all the way back. And then this only goes back to great grandfather, but if you go online and you have all the codes and stuff and you're registered, you can follow it back for like years and years and years and years. So behind the scenes, all of this sort of paperwork is going on as well, and registering animals and doing movement forms and collecting invoices and hoping my house sale goes through so I can actually pay some invoices. But I really like that aspect of the rare breeds as well, because you feel like you're actually putting a lot of effort into establishing a really specific pedigree bloodline that can save the breed. So yeah, that's a little thing behind the scenes and a complete tangent. Oh, so Ninja says, careful with sharing docs like that. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing on that document that could be stolen. You know, that document just has genealogy stuff on it and has her ID number, but on the system, her ID number is mine. It's my address, it's my name. So, you know, if she was even ever stolen, they'd still know she was mine. And the other thing is that is really, I found this thing the other day for sheep. I'm going off on another tangent. But it's like a marker that you put in their fleece. So it's like a paint that you put into their fleece, but the paint is made up of millions of tiny molecules that are all coded with a number. And you paint it on and it all goes off into the fleece. And it's like if she's stolen, then basically you can scan the fleece and then the fleece would come up with the code of where she was supposed to be. So it's not like a microchip, it's like a full body microchip thing. It's super cool. And I was thinking this is going to be mega expensive, but the pot of paint is like 15 quid. So I'm totally going to do that because I think it's pretty cool, to be honest. And also, it's like safeguarding your flock. Obviously, we have insurance, so if they did get stolen, I'm covered. But I don't want them stolen in the first place. So I think if you could get a sign saying they're marked or whatever, people will be less likely to steal them. Jackie said, that's very similar to pedigree cat breeding. All the paperwork takes time. And I will say a little prayer for your house elf. Thank you very much. Yeah, it does take time, and but it's fun. It's the fun kind of things. And now also I want to do these lives in the future at the farm. But what are we? It's 8:20 and it's dark outside. So there's only so much I can do at the farm these days. And now when the clock goes back, we're going to have even less light. So a lot of the winter is going to be planning and buying seeds, planning the market garden. I have bought a few, what have I bought? I bought a few ranunculus. They're not tubers, they're like claws to put. So I think I've bought 120 ranunculus claws to put in. And that's the only thing I've bought so far in terms of flowers, but I'm very excited to buy tons of flowers for the flower sale. The fleece paint is incredible. Yeah, it's really interesting. I will try and find out what it is, the exact name of it, and let you guys know, because it's just really interesting to me to even look up. Andrew said, any interest in the future to hatch emu? Possibly. I need to check out the classifications of emu. I know at one point emus were actually classed, rhea was like domestic, and then emu was classed as like more dangerous, so you needed a dangerous animals license to have it. I think that classification is now gone and anybody can have an emu. I think they're possibly more I'm not dangerous, more likely to escape than rhea. I know some people that have rhea, and the rhea are brilliant for cleaning out the fields of like pests, ticks, lice, anything like that. So they send the rhea through the fields before the sheep and the goats and stuff come through, because the rhea clean it out of all the pests. So I am interested in going down that line, but again, I need to, now we're here, before I get anything in the future, I need to kind of plan business wise how it's going to make me money. I mean, let's be realistic. My name is Jeffrey and I'm an animal addict, so that's probably not going to happen. I will probably just end up one day saying, guys, look, I bought 7 emus at a auction and the camel is coming next week. That's probably more realistic, but, but we'll see how we go, especially now I have all this land. But yeah, so don't be surprised if animals just randomly turn up, because that's basically what happened with the rabbits and the ferret and a lot of the birds. Yeah, so Andrew says emu is now domestic. Yes, they can jump 6 foot. They can jump 6 foot straight up. Yes, I'm not sure how containable they are. See, this is the other thing. I really want to get peacocks, but I really, really don't want to keep them in an aviary. But that means they're going to roam everywhere, and I really don't want them going over to my neighbour's property and flying onto their thatch roof and screaming at 3 a.m. in the morning and pooping all over the roofs, which they will do because our neighbours' roofs are literally less than 10 meters away. So I will probably get peacocks, but I'll probably end up having to create like a giant aviary for them to keep them in, which is a bit sad because I would like them just walking around, but I don't think my neighbour's going to be particularly happy with peacock poop. Andrew, yeah, I completely forgot. So Andrew said I pay £15 each egg and they sell for over 100 as youngsters. Our DNA tested are at £10 an egg, each eggshell. I completely forgot you hatched out your emu, actually. Yeah, that's cool. I need to have a chat with you about what happened to them in the end, because I would be interested. But I would like something like a rhea or emu. But then you see, I want donkeys as well, and a horse. And Sud wants camels, and I want peacocks, and I want a huge waterfowl lake filled with like black swan and ornamental geese. And I don't know how I'm going to afford it all. I'll just collect it. Yeah, so Julie says my parents' village had a village peacock that would just roam everywhere. I think everyone quite enjoyed it. Yeah, there's a place near me, and I found some electric fencing on Facebook, really cheap. Went there and there were just peacocks walking everywhere, and I was like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, there's just a wild peacock population. There's about 50 peacocks in this village, and people love them. I think I was saying they must make an utter raucous. It's like, yeah, but people love them because, you know, a peacock screaming is better than a car or a motorbike. So I guess if you live in the countryside, that's what you have to get used to. Ninja says alpacas and llamas. Not a massive fan. We had alpacas at my job. Not a massive fan. I haven't found them the most nicest creatures. They're really difficult to shear. You know, they're like one of the animals. I could probably shear a sheep. I wouldn't do a very good job, but I have sheared a few sheep and I could do it. Alpacas, you'd have to get somebody in. That was one of the animals that I just really did not gel with. And donkeys are also very good. So a lot of people keep alpacas and llamas as a security animal because they kind of integrate with sheep and chickens and things and keep foxes away. But donkeys also do that. So I'm actually thinking of going down the donkey route. A, because of that, and B, because nostalgic. My granddad had donkeys. So my granddad had donkeys. He had a Jenny and a Jack. And he had a foal every year, which is cute. The guy that I bought my ram from has loads of donkeys. And there's a possibility I might be able to buy a couple of those in the future. Maybe. If not, I could look somewhere else. So yeah, I do like donkey. I do like donkeys. So yeah, alpacas and llamas probably not. Unless something really random happens, like somebody just emails me and goes, I've got a lonely 2 alpacas, can you have them? In which case I'll probably say yes. Oh, and I've just seen that one of Danny's quail died. I'm really sorry. They do, I lost one last week, I think, actually. She was about 5 years old though, so I was not too surprised. Right, guys. Well, it's been great to catch up. We're coming up on an hour, so if anybody's got any final questions, let me know. If not, I am going to sign off, drink this kind of lukewarm cup of tea. But it has been fun to catch up. I am going to try and do these more often. Does Sunday night suit? If so, I'll try and do a Wednesday video, a Saturday video, and a Sunday live. Because it would be nice to keep in touch with you all. It's been good to see you as well. It's been enjoyable. I like the lives. And the thing is now, in the past, you know, the lives were just, connecting with other people all across the world. Basically, live videos are basically a way of life now, aren't they? Because we can't go anywhere. So 2020 has been the year of Zoom and live videos. So now it feels completely normal to catch up socially with everybody via basically a video link. So yeah, it's been really nice. Well, I'm going to sign off then, guys. It's been lovely to catch up with you. If you've got any burning questions, then let me know. Save them for next week. If you're not in the Facebook group, come and join us at Brimwood Farm's community group. Check out the videos from this past couple of weeks as well. So I did one with every single animal on the homestead. I walked through, showed you everything. The last one on yesterday was all about the trees. I'm really excited that actually many more trees survived than I thought, which was so good. A lot of the ones that died initially had died back from the top, but when I lifted the protector up, they'd actually come up again. Obviously, that's going to cause a massive stuntness. It's going to stunt them somewhat, but I'm hoping that now they can sit there for another winter, be protected. I'm hoping that next spring they'll really start to whoosh. And there's some varieties like rowan and hazel and willow in particular that can grow a lot every year. So I'm hoping that once they start going, they will whoosh away. But yeah, as I say, if you're not in the Facebook group, come across and join us. If you've got any questions, please ask or save it for next time. And have a lovely evening. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves. And I'll see you very soon, guys. Bye. I will say bye. I just can't work out how to turn it off. Bye.